Easy, how are we?
Shawnee, I'm back in Mozambique.
Yeah, we've probably had like half our episode start with you going, I'm back. And I'm like, what's he mean he's
Well, it's
back?
not
Is he back
training
running?
anyway.
He's back training?
Not
No.
training.
How dare you be training on a running podcast? How dare you doing such things? This is what we've got Grace. We've got guests to do for this.
I'm so full of chocolate. It's been a great Christmas though. I've enjoyed it and I hope everyone else has. I think a lot of times people get worked up about it. I enjoyed every single bit of it. No regrets, not even one letter. Every bit of chocolate, every beer, every Baileys. I loved it. And even as I was eating, I was like, you can't. And I was like, I can. Fucking watch me. Fucking watch me. I was having the dialogue with myself going, go on. Another spoonful, another roasty. Go on, it's Christmas. And I loved every bit of it. I loved every second of it. And now I'm back here and it's a little bit more structured and back into work. And I'm working off the extra 5 kilos I put on in 6 weeks. But, they were earned. They were earned. They were enjoyed. And it's Christmas. So we're back. Yeah, I went running. I've noticed the 5 kilos though. I've noticed whatever.
I'd say so.
I've noticed, and the humidity. It's nice though. It's the rainy season here now, so it's humid, but it's overcast at the minute. So it was actually enjoyable getting out for the run. It was again looking for oxygen probably after about a kilometre. Look, it's exciting. It's nice to be back into the routine as everyone is, and keeping myself ticking over and settling back in, and it's. Yeah, it's a good start to the year, but oh boy, did I enjoy Christmas. Oh yes.
No new year, new you kind of stuff. It's just, let's just recover from this and don't want to say undo the damage, but I enjoyed it myself.
That is new me, because usually I get to January and then I'm guilty and, why did I do this? And why did I do that? And whatever else. Like I did a couple of runs, which is more than I ever do. I did that stupid thing you wanted me to do, nearly killed me. And,
Can't kill a bad thing.
Yeah, you definitely can. And I am testimony to that. But it's been, the new year, new me part is, I enjoyed it. And it was hard on the run today, but that's what I get. That's my reward for having a good time. So the harder it was like, good man. You did well. You did well. And look, we just have to enjoy the training now, and that's what it is, and it is going to be tough, but it'll never get easier. I'll just get faster. So it's no harm. But I really enjoyed it. And that is the new year, new me, is stop being so hard on myself and enjoy the training and enjoy getting back to what it is. And so it's good. It's good to be back here. It's something different. It gets me out of the cold. I have to say, was not enjoying that, but I'll take the humidity over that. But it is good to be back. It's good. You know what? I was nervous recording episodes again, Sean. You kind of forget after a couple of weeks over Christmas. I was like, oh yeah, how do you interview people again? Not that we knew how to do it before now, but it's 6 years. We celebrated our birthday. I even had cake that day and a beer. I didn't tell you. I was celebrating on my own.
Well, I was celebrating my own over here because the better half didn't care.
I did. I was like, I couldn't believe it was 6 years since we did our first episode.
6 years since we were in the apartment, and we had the goal of training towards a spring marathon, and that's the one thing that hasn't changed, training towards a spring marathon. And you kind of put the shits up people with it being 9 to 10 weeks into the Barcelona one right around the corner.
Yeah, and it is getting close, and not only that, we're looking at some good races coming up on a lot of people's calendars for January and into February. We have our own races then in Naas to Donady 50k will be coming up in February as well. So lots on the horizon for everyone who are probably like me, full of chocolate, but still happy to go on racing and kicking off the year well and started a road racing season and everything that is good about what we're looking ahead for, and it's really exciting. It is an exciting time. I'm looking forward to be back a part of it all, and it is good. I'm actually optimistic. I'm not being hard on myself. I'm looking forward to it. 10 weeks to get marathon ready, and I'm looking forward to it.
I don't even know where to segue in this one because I'm used to you going, right, Sean, this is it. 75 hard. I'm going to train twice a day, 45 minutes a day. I'm like, Eric, I'm training in 3-4 months.
Eric
no, I'm doing it.
Though.
And I'm reading a book a day. That's it. Front to back, no bother. That's the way you read books. And I'm gonna I might go swimming as well and build it all up. But you're taking the responsible approach.
No, this is it. This is Not new year, new me. This is listen, I can't do it, so this is what you get. This is it. I've too much on to be reading them books. So no, I am reading stuff, but just not books front to go. I do have a book in there. I get a couple of pages every night, but there's no stress on myself to do it. If I read it, great. If I don't, great.
I just feel like you've got your
I've
stuff together,
confused
and
you
here's
now.
me with
You
the old
don't even
Christmas
know what
tree
to
and all
say.
still up. So I'm actually kind of shocked. I kind of just want to segue straight into this week's guest, because we just actually interviewed him before we start this intro, and even after we stopped the record button, still heard some phenomenal stories from our guest this week.
Yeah, this week was one that could have been 2, 3, 4 hours. An absolute amazing athlete, amazing chit chat about all things running, and a big exclaimer to this one. We barely scratched the surface of all that this person has done. It's an absolutely amazing episode, and again from the humble, and it's definitely something about Irish athletes to be just that humble and just nice and kind with their time, and to share good stories. And it's really nice one again because it does mention for those road runners the dirty words, trail running and mountain running and all of those things. And it is a fantastic insight for us. For we haven't done many, and maybe this year we might take on an old Limmer race, me and you, Sean. See if we can climb or see if we can descend.
No, this is no, this 2026 of you signing me back up to stuff. No, you sign yourself up to stuff. You let me worry about me, and you start signing yourself up to these things.
Christmas. I'm getting you back for Christmas. So yeah, let's see. And but look, it's a fantastic episode and a really, really great listen. It's a fantastic. We're off to a fantastic start to our new year and new guests coming in, and it's one that really keeps us on that momentum. We're hoping that these episodes are helping people through to January. We hope you're back listening, enjoying the episodes, and having front row seats again to a fantastic athlete.
And with that said, it's this week's episode of the Any Given Run Day podcast. Let's go. Our next guest on the Any Given Run Day podcast is a mountain and trail runner with 3 top 6 placings in major championship races, including 2 fifth-place finishes in the European Championships and uphill race in World Mountain and Trail Running Championships. He's represented his country in running. Zak Hanna, welcome to this week's episode of the Any Given Run Day podcast. How are you getting on?
Thanks for having me, lads. All good. Looking to see where this chat takes us.
Zak, we find it hard to wrap. Like, people talk when we talk about marathons and stuff. Oh, it's a hilly marathon, it's a this marathon, and this is a nice flat marathon. You do it for fun. What drives that insanity, and where did that love for the trails come from, and how is it you got into this sport?
That's when you talk about a hilly marathon, I hear it all the time, and people often say to me, "Oh, that's just that must be a walk in the park for you." But it's horses for courses. You know, you get good marathon runners who can run uphill and those who can't. So it's all what you're good at. But going on to your question about where it sort of came from, like where I live up on the side of a mountain here in outside a village called Dramar here in Northern Ireland, County Down, and I live at 1,000 feet above sea level. So it's you call that altitude for Ireland.
Yeah, you're one of our local Kenyans, are you?
Well, wouldn't go that far now. Dirt roads. Well, some of the dirt roads are better looked after now, to be fair, but we'll not go that far. But I know I've been involved in the outdoors all my life. Sort of been show jumping and cycling for the first probably 20, 21 years of my life, and then just stumbled upon running, I suppose. I'd done it in school for the crack, bit of cross country, as every child in Ireland seems to do in school, but I never done it with the intention of becoming a runner per se, but it was an excuse to get out of class when I was in school. I made them every chance I got to get out of class, away I went. Had a few good placings in County Down and Ulster Schools Championships. This is like when I was 12, 13, 14. But then cycling and horse riding was the main focus. That was it. And then when I left school and started working, it just sort of, you got a bit hungry for the pound, as they would say up here, and working all the hours, and the cycling sort of results weren't going my way because I was working so much, but I was trying to train on top of it, and then just ended up packing in the cycling because I was burnt out essentially. I've been doing so much and I'm putting so much into it, burnt out, and then just from that started running just to keep fit. And then it was actually through a few friends in my local cycling club who had like basically said, "You've got the build to be a really good hill runner, so why not give it a go?" So, not knowing me, I just took a run up one day up the mountain I live behind. I live at the bottom of. Went up to the summit one day and came back down. Loved every minute of it, and I thought, "This is cool. I'd like to give this a go." And then went down to my local club, Newcastle AC. Went down to the club session with them, and from then on, I was hooked. That was it. Never really looked back, and that was it. Cycling was officially packed in, but I still carried on doing some show jumping up until for the guts of a year when I realised that I wanted to take running seriously, and then both were put to the side, and then running became the number one focus.
Can I ask you about that transition, Zach? Because when you put so much energy into something, like a lot of us do, when you find something that you tend to be good to, or people, you're getting awarded for you, cycling, for me, it was probably football in the younger years. Giving that up was a very difficult thing. Was it easier for you because you found something else you liked? Or at that point when you realize I'm a young athlete, but I also have to work, do you feel like maybe if facilities and stuff was better? This is a long question kind of on the climate for young athletes and their ability to help them achieve. Did you find that, one, you have to choose working over the sport? Do you have any kind of regrets over that element when you leave it behind and go, I wonder what my potential could have been had I have got, the resources and everything to push it? Or was this a case of, maybe I have taken this as far as I can do and I'm really happy that I've moved into this space now?
I think, well, I was very fortunate that whenever I was cycling from a very young age, I started cycling when I was 8. I was very lucky that I was friends with athletes who were very, very good on their age level. And as well, I was exposed to Olympians and Commonwealth Games riders and whatnot from a very young age. There's actually a local bike shop not far from me, Downey Cycles. The owner of it, Seamus Downey, rode in, I can't remember what Olympics it was, but he rode in the Olympics for Ireland back in the 80s. And back then, whenever I first found this out, I was like, oh my God, this man's been to the Olympics. And that was like, this is unbelievable. But then I became really good friends with his two sons, Sean and Mark. Sean and Mark both went on to ride professionally. Sean rode for the Ampost Sean Kelly team, and he rode in France and Belgium. And then Mark, he went on to ride for Team Wiggins. He was world champion on the track. And, I grew up training with fellas like that. And as well, you've got, say, Matthew Taggart, rode for Team Wiggins as well. All friends I grew up training with all went abroad and competed professionally. And, they done that for a long time, whereas I never raced abroad. Whenever I was a cyclist, I was just always trying to do the same as them. I wanted to go a race abroad, never happened. Just for I don't know the reason for why I never hit the same level as them. It could be genetics, it could be just talent. I didn't have the talent that they had. But when I got to the point where I realized I wasn't getting the same output, as the output wasn't matching the input. Like I deliberately cut my hours in my job to try and allow me to cycle more, but that didn't do anything for me. It just meant that I was putting more work in, but then it was getting more and more annoying that I was training, but the results just weren't coming. And I was very lucky that both my parents are very supportive in terms of whenever I decided, I just took this notion one day that the cycling just wasn't going well. And I can remember my local club every Christmas held a Christmas run. It's usually about a week or two before Christmas. And basically you have a short run and a long run. The long run's usually all the racers getting ready for the summer. They go out and they hit it hard and everyone comes back busted. But I done the short run, which is just for those wanting to have the crack. They cycled to a pub for a pint, came back, and I remember we were cycling. We were about 4 kilometers from the finish of the run, and I was cycling past my grandparents' house, and I just pulled over, and I went into my grandparents' house, and they left me up the road. I says, "That's it. I can't do this no more." Never sat on the bike since. That was Christmas 2015, and then when I started running, I got the bug for running. Bought myself a pair of Innovate X Talons. That was my first ever pair of fell running shoes. And that was it. That was me hooked. Cycling, never even thought of it again. I've zero interest in getting back on a bike. I've never once in the 10 years I've been running tempted to get back on it. So that was really it. But there was no, I wouldn't say there was any like disadvantage to like facilities wise or anything for me, because I was on a road cyclist. I was also started off as a mountain biker. Obviously, for the that was what you done when you were a kid. You went into the mountain biking
Adrenaline.
because
How many
I
bones
loved
can I break? Yeah.
Thankfully, I've never actually broken any bones, thankfully. But I did, like, as an underage mountain biker and in cyclocross as well. I had like numerous podiums at national level, national championships as well on the road. I was lucky enough to ride for Ulster a few times on the road in the Ras Donegal stage race for the Belgian project team. So like, I did have opportunities here to ride for like not professional teams, but they were set up to be professional, like guesting for teams and whatnot. And whenever, like, the first time I rode for Ulster, I thought this is absolutely unreal. I thought that was probably the peak of my cycling career. But I've no regrets over anything, because it just seemed to came to a natural end as such, because there was no sudden end. It just sort of just seemed to fizzle out itself. And yeah, I don't look back with any real like regrets or anything.
It probably helps that you said this the Christmas 2015.
Yeah.
That you went to your grandparents' house. Like, by the time you get to 2016, like, you already are heading down to Wicklow for trials to try and represent Ireland for the first time. Like, what was that like, considering like you hadn't got that much of a running specific background with all the cycling, and then how did you get on down there?
Well, it's sort of whenever I started running and I just started doing a bit more training. I wouldn't say training. I was going out for a run 3-4 days a week, and I wasn't doing any specific sessions. It was basically running around where I live, very hilly, very mountainous. So obviously the hill, going uphill and coming downhill, I was just doing that all the time. Running on the flat just didn't appeal to me at that stage. But whenever I first got picked to run for Northern Ireland at the UK Inter-Counties, then got picked to run for Northern Ireland at Snowdon, the Snowdon International, and then on the boat home, obviously we're in the boat home with the Irish team, got chatting to them. They said to me, "Oh, you should come down to Wicklow in 2-3 weeks. There's a trial for the World Championships to go to Bulgaria. You should come down." And I'm like, "I dead on, World Championships." This isn't. But then when I got home, I sort of curiosity got the better of me. I done a bit of research. I was like, "There's actually a World Championships for mountain running. Didn't know this existed." So headed off down to Wicklow and lining up there, and you've like, at this stage I didn't know these runners, but you're lining up with Brian McMahon, Ian Conroy, and these boys looked like professionals, and there's me just rolled up beside them. But I ended up winning the trial up to the top of Joyce. Won the trial by like, I think I won it by like 90 seconds or something. But I can remember at the summit, Jerry Brady, the then Emira high performance manager, he was like, "Who are you? Where'd you come out?"
Who the fuck is this guy?
He's in the race.
Because then I had emailed him like a week before asking, what's the story with the selection. I think he thought I was emailing asking to be selected, but that wasn't the case. That was me like, "What do I have to do here?" So when I said, I'm the one that sent you the email, he was like, "Oh, right, well done."
Brilliant.
Was there an element of peace in the fact that you didn't know them, they didn't know you, all you had to do was run and give it your best? Was there an element of satisfaction in that? And then obviously you're being hunted by a pack and it's in your head, these guys look professional. What goes through your head when you're obviously in the lead and looking back on what have I done wrong? Have I taken a wrong turn? Or, how does it feel through that race, particularly when it's you've done some runs, but now you're in, as you said, it's a world championship qualification. Was there any thoughts going through your head like, this isn't right?
New year, new me. So I'm making new things happen right now. After my run, I must have an ultra pure Epsom salts bath, rich in pseudomagnesium, and feels great after a long session. "Oh, but you need to run first." So I said, "I know you're going with that, Eric. And when my muscles ache, I haven't got time for a bath like you. So I'm having their ice cold menthol gel, instant cooling relief, and it helps me get ready for the next one." Yeah, but I could have that, but if I'm on the go, I also want to have the essential oil muscle rub on as well. "I know where you rub that on." Stop it. I know you're going to go with that. I know you're going to go with that. So stop it right now. So I'm going straight to the finish. Exactly. New year, new goals, and muscle recovery support that works. And it actually is really good for you, despite what I'm saying here. But I'm not handing you abuse me in 2026. So do your little outro you normally do.
It's like you're in my head, but by listening to this advert, you are supporting this Irish podcast and Irish businesses. Do take a look at the Ultra Pure range online and this great value bundle and save 10% on ultrapurelabs.ie.
Well, I can remember this. It started off very fast. That's all I can remember. And then to be honest with you, this is where the cycling helped me. The tactics of just sitting and seeing who's around you and reading the bunch, basically, which I did. And it came to a point where we come up the mall and ride. We're running across on the Wicklow Way. And like back then, I didn't know any of these things existed. I didn't know what the Wicklow Way was. Like, I was just looking at signs and following the tape. But I can remember we were coming across the Wicklow Way and I could see the Pars Court waterfall, and then I could see Joyce was just on my left. And I was like, I could see I knew that was the finish because I can remember being told that on the start line, that's where it is. So I was coming across and I could see straight ahead, there's like a bit of an opening onto the open mountain. Then we turned left and we descended down to this river. We crossed that over the stile. My descending's never been great, so I knew I lost a bit there. But as soon as we got over the river, I got back onto the group. I think it was Ian and James Cavan and Brian McMahon, and away I went. I just put the boot down, and that last stretch up to Joyce, I was in my element up it. I was like, this is unbelievable. Felt really good, and that was it. Won it.
Unbelievable.
Just on the downhill, a lot. Like, we've done a couple of adventure races and I wouldn't exactly call us athletes. It's two blokes out for a stroll. But coming downhill is punishing. And also a loose grip, slip. Watching some of you guys descend. Now, you say it's probably not your strong point, but probably in comparison to us, it's like a gazelle coming past a mountain go, what is it like? And is there technique to it? Is it something you can improve on after that point? Or because obviously when you're at your level, you're looking for the percentages. How do you master that element and what goes through your head as you're descending down these hills?
Well, I think I was very lucky whenever the first sort of 3 or 4 years of my running, I was lucky enough to train alongside one of probably the best descenders I've ever seen. Certainly that I think, Ireland's maybe produced, Seamus Lynch. He was Irish champion, Northern Ireland champion, won Cairn Tuchel, won Sleeve Donard. Like, if you look him up, that's a man. He is a serious operator. Doesn't run anymore. But I was lucky enough to witness that man racing and race alongside him going downhill. And honestly, I don't know. His ability to run downhill is just incredible. I could never match it. I've tried over the years to get better at downhill just by doing more of it. But I'm a believer you either have it or you don't. You know, there's some people who can run uphill really well, but they can't come down, and vice versa. Then you get the very few who are able to do both very well. I fall into that category where I can run uphill well, but I can't run downhill. That's why I try not to do up and down races, because they don't reflect my ability, in my opinion. I could be running really well uphill. Once I hit a downhill, everyone passes me, and then I'm left annoyed at the end that it didn't go as well because of the downhill. But if there is a good technique, I'm yet to find it. So if you know anyone who knows it, send them out.
But you've even, I saw one of your posts. I was looking at it there when you did Sleep Down. You just mentioned the Ireland's Oldest Run a couple of years ago. Like the middle paragraphs, they crossed the line with less skin, more bruises, legs dripping blood, and ripping my favourite New Balance shorts yesterday. Bad fall in the lead coming through, and then you're like, thankfully I'm not soft. Had pizza and chips after. Like, you must have some mindset to throw yourself into those races, and like when you're in the lead, knowing people are after you, just going whatever way you can. You say yourself that you haven't got the best technique, not to me and Eric know what that is, but just to go all out, it must take a hell of a mindset just to go, just like literally go for it.
Well, you see, Sleeve Donard locally is a big race for us up here, so it's kind of one where you go in and you can't go in half-hearted. You have to go all out. Yeah. So that particular year, I can remember it was a very, very good day weather-wise, but coming down, I had got a good gap on the uphill, And then on the way down, for me, coming down on that particular race, there's no marked path on the way down. You have to make your own way to a checkpoint, and then you have to make your own way through the forest. Fell running, basically. So I was coming down, and there's a quarry at the bottom of Sleeve Donard, and you have to hit that quarry. So that's dead on. I'm flying here. I had no falls or anything on the way down through the boulder fields. I had a really good downhill purely because I gave myself a good gap on the way up so that I was able to relax on the way down. Basically, try and be as efficient as possible. Mightn't have been the fastest, but trying to be efficient. And I can remember coming down the forest trail in Donard Forest, and I cut right through the mountain bike path. But for some reason, I picked up a lot of speed. I don't know what happened, but I jumped over the ditch onto the lower forest path, but overshot it. Went straight across, and there was an old, like it must have been a mountain bike jump or something. But I hit it, and the jump collapsed, and I just went down into the ditch, and I must have been unconscious for a bit or whatever. But it took me serious work to get out of that because I was tangled up in thorns and bracken and whatnot, and that's what I say. The blood in my knee that day and elbows was bad, and I ripped a good pair of shorts, so I limped the last probably 700-800 meters down to the finish, and because at that stage everyone's like, "Where's Zak?" Because they'd been told Zak's well in the lead at this point. I'm like, "Oh." Then everyone sees me coming in, and it's like, "What happened to you?" And it's like, it's hard to explain whenever you're not. It's hard to explain to someone else what actually happened because it just happens so quickly.
Peace.
It's one of those things that you just say, yeah, it was the descending that got me. I always said it was. When you take on and in an essence, it can be considered an extreme sport because you're exposed to the elements, particularly as you're climbing these mountains and stuff. Well, we look at the new year, people are looking at the weather, we've had icy, a lot of us road runners are looking at treadmills going sweet. How do you maintain the consistency through the winter when you take on the likes of trail runners? Because the IMRA races, they sound really appealing. And I'm asking from a person who's soft. All right, I like my warm weather. How
like
do you
your pizza
maintain
chips
your...
as well, though.
I like me pizza and chips as well. I'm definitely not a climber. Good descender, though, if I roll. But the maintaining the standard throughout the winter, particularly in Ireland, is that a challenge, particularly when you're looking at a world standard? Or is it something that you have to say, look, I'm going to have to travel to get in some good training ground? Or how do you manage training during the winter? Because the mountains, although not very big, can be very challenging through the winters here.
To be honest with you, I think, as I say, it goes back to being brought up outside. You just get, when you're out working with horses, you're out in the bike, it just sort of, you harden to it. It doesn't become as much of a deal. It doesn't become as much of a big deal now for me. But personally, I love the process of training. I like going out training. Even if it's just an easy run or it's a session, you just go and get it done. That's my take on it. And up here, the last weekend, it snowed bad up at my house, so I was sort of stuck where I couldn't go to I have a lake I train at 10 minutes away to do my session. So what I done was, a few years ago, I actually bought a pair of crampons. I was actually meant to go to Scotland to visit a few friends before Christmas. I bought a pair of crampons for that trip, but they never got used because the flight was cancelled because the snow was bad in Glasgow. So I put the crampons on in the snow, and away I went up Sleeve Crib, and I was able to do just an easy, I done an hour of a good climbing hour, and even the next day and the day after when the roads were icy and still covered in snow, I was able to go out, and I didn't lose any quality, didn't have to take a day off or anything. But I think the hardest part's when the Atlantic storms hit, those storms that we've gotten recently they've been brutal, but for me, I'm very exposed up here. There's no forest, no shelter or anything, so I just have to go out and grin and bear it. Even if it's only getting 45 minutes, then it's better than doing nothing, in my opinion. So, I just do what I can. And, luckily, apart from taking, a end of season break, I haven't missed a single day of running in the last 5 or 6 years. But, that consistency is what I look for. If I can bring together consistency through the winter, going to stand you good stead come spring and summer. That's the way I look at it.
Psst, Sean.
Yes.
We're going on an adventure.
I'll pack your bags.
God.
We are going to the Northern Ireland Running Show this February 7th and 8th, Saturday and Sunday. We'll be there along with our sponsors. So many of the goodies and gadgets you never get to eat, try and play with as you get ready for a marathon. It's Ireland's first running expo. We'll be there doing interviews. There'll be so many great guests and entertainment on the day. It is all that we want, food and drink wise, everything there for the family on the day. And you can look it up on anygivenrunday.com or the Northern Ireland Running Show. If you are a club member and looking for 2 free tickets for your club, please reach out to us on Instagram or send us a message and leave your details on www.anygivenrunday.com. And let's get back to this week's episode.
Why are we whispering?
Psh, it's a holiday.
Zach, on some of those mountain runs, you have a great training partner with you.
Yep.
The old dog jog. How did you get him to go that much running with you? How did that happen?
That was, when did I get her? I got her just after Christmas 2018. It was actually a friend of mine who runs. She and her husband were talking to me at a race one day, and she was talking about her dad had an accidental litter of pups, and she was showing me pictures and whatnot, and then that was all right. A couple of other friends then came over and joined the conversation, and then it was all talk, oh, Zach, one of them would do you for running. And I never thought they were joking, but the more I thought, like, I thought wouldn't be a bad idea, so I took off one day up the Larne, which is about an hour and a half away from me, and went up and seen this. Well, there's a whole pile of them running about the farm, just loose, and just seen this wee one. I was like, yep, you're coming with me. That was it. I brought her home, and then as I say, I brought her home, and she was a wee fat thing, like all puppies are. She had all the puppy fat on her, so I wasn't sure whether I had bought a wee chunky dog or had bought this whippet. But she turned out to be a thoroughbred of a dog. She's a collie, but I think she's got a bit of a Springer Spaniel or whippet on her, because she looks like a collie, but the build of her is very, very lean. Leaner than what a normal collie would be, but probably the best £75 I ever spent.
When you look at that, Zach, a lot of people, it is a motivator in itself, because you say the consistency you're getting out every day. And one thing about having a dog is they need a walk every day, especially when you have something so energetic. When you take a rest day, how does the dog take it? Do you both looking at each other and going, "There, what's going on here? Are we not going to work today?" Or is that an element of, for yourself, there is no real rest days, or is there always something on for the two of you, or what way does it work?
All my easy runs, I don't take. I go and say I take rest days. Like if I done a session today, ran this evening, so tomorrow will be an easy day, which I would count as a rest day. It's just an easy hour tomorrow, so that's a rest day. But she comes in all my easy runs, so like if I run 100 mile a week, she'll be doing probably 55, 60.
Wow.
And loving every minute, looking back, waiting on you.
The thing is, if I come in to the back door and I'm putting the shoes on, she's leaning against the door. She's like, "Come on, let's go." And then when I hit the card and see the minute, she knows my watch, the tone my watch makes when I hit the button. Even if I'm doing an easy run and doing strides after, she knows what the lap button sounds like. So once she hears that lap button go, she takes off sprinting, like as if she's doing strides too. And here's the watch stop. He knows to stop and all, like, so she's not controlled by my voice. It's the watch controls her essentially, but I love running with her because like the place, like I've been all over the moorings with her, and even running the road, she's great with cars. I haven't had to run with a lead in her since she was probably, I say 8-9 months, because from 6 months I was going to where I have a field down the road from where I live, and I was just going in there with her, running around the field. I wasn't training her as such, but I was just teaching her to, simple commands, staying with me and whatnot. And when it came to the time when I say, which is maybe 15 or 16 months old, I started then running with her beside me, and she just took to it naturally and doesn't need a lead to run with, which is good because it saves me having to carry it.
Absolutely brilliant. I could talk about your dog all day, and just seeing that video of you and the dog just keep looking back at the big smile, the tongue wagging is just, oh man, I don't think I've ever been as jealous of someone running through mountains before as I was seeing those Instagram videos of you doing that. Absolutely
But
brilliant.
some of the places, like some of the places I go to in the mornings are like they're only a 10-minute drive for me, but she knows all the paths, she knows all the way shortcuts through the trees and all. Like she's brilliant. She's 7 years old now, so she's getting on a bit, but she still gets on like she's 2.
Getting back to your trainer, you're talking about different places you run. You have ran, like Eric mentioned Kenya earlier, but you have done training events out in Kenya, or gone out training stuff out there. You're in Italy for a couple of months as well. Where, apart from Ireland and a home, is your favourite place to go for runs?
Oh, how long's a piece of string? That's a
Well, was there
very
ever a
difficult
place
topic.
that humbled you, Zach? Was there ever a place that you went to on a training camp and went, "Oh, I'm after getting spanked here"? You know, was there anything that you put manners on you altitude wise, or something that you're like, "I won't forget this one"?
Oh, Kenya. I think Kenya humbles any runner because you're 2,500 meters. That's it. You're there for the month, and everything's just harder there because you're jogging easy and your heart rate's maybe a bit higher because of the altitude, and you have to dial back your paces. Like if you run 5 minute miling at home at sea level, you're not going to run that at altitude because if you're not used to it, it's just going to destroy you. But I think when I think because I've been lucky enough to train all over the world, essentially train and race, very hard to pinpoint one place. Very,
Mm.
very hard. But if I was to give you a few, it'd have to be Font Remo in the Pyrenees in France. Absolutely love there. Where else has been good? Italy in general. I go anywhere in Italy is very, very good to train because it's just I love Italy. Italy's just a
Mm.
class country because the culture over there for mountain running is just second to none, and the mountains are just so 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 good. But then again, it's hard. It's hard to beat here at home for training because it's just home. That's my take on it.
I'm jumping ahead now because your ton of accomplishments, including 6th in the World Mountain Running Association World Cup. But I do want to talk about Thailand just to give people perspective of what we're talking about when it comes to the hill running and what you did. The World Championships, 5th you came. Absolutely phenomenal. It is an 8.5 kilometer race, but there's over 1,000 meters of elevation over
Yep.
8 kilometers. And that is just something like what is the over Dublin marathon, Eric? Got 300 meters over 42.
300 less,
It's
yeah, about 300.
so you 3 times the elevation over 1/5 of the distance. Like it's just something that I can't wrap my head around to go bombing it up that hill as mountain as much as you can. What was that experience like at time? And the heat as well. I heard it was like 30 plus degrees on top of everything else.
Oh, Thailand was an incredible trip because it was cancelled the year before because of COVID. So we were out there in 2022, but they still had all the signs from 2021 up. So you thought you'd gone back in time when you landed out there because everything was all 2021. But no, even like it was just surreal being there because it actually happened. Like when it was first cancelled, there was whole talk it mightn't go ahead in 2022. So when it did, when we got the all clear to go, that was it. Like myself and Sarah McCormick, and Leo Martin, the team manager, we went out. I think we went out 10 days before the race purely to get over the jet lag and to get used to the heat. But as you say, it was 30 plus degrees. It never really dropped below that. Even at night time, it was 25, 26. So like there's no need for rain jackets. There's no need for anything. Like the suitcase I had a 23 kilo suitcase and I think it weighed 13 kilo because there's hardly any gear in it. But no, it was brilliant. Like the whole atmosphere around Chiang Mai, like it's mad that when you're in Chiang Mai, you wonder where's the mountains here. But you go out the road, and next thing you're in the jungle. You've been warned
Jeez.
there's potential snakes and everything about the place, and it's just madness. But then the race itself, I can remember it was started at 8 o'clock in the morning. I think everyone back here was in bed, but luckily enough, the room had air conditioning, so I wasn't waking up overheated. But thankfully, Sarah McCormick, she had brought an ice vest with her, so we packed it with ice. I made my porridge, got the ice vest on, absolutely
Oh
shaking like a
wow.
leaf because it's so cold with the air conditioning. But to be honest with you, it was the best thing we did because when I stepped outside and felt the heat, that May it was That was mad. But to be honest with you, I've been coming off the back of a good season, so confidence was high of a good result. At that stage, I was thinking top 15 will be good here. And, on the start line, you're racing against people you've been racing all season. You've been beating them. So the nerves were like, I always get nervous before a race. Like, even if it's a local race, I'm always nervous because that's just me. I know I've trained hard for these races, so it's a case of you just have to go in nervous and just use that nerves to help you. I look at them as a positive instead of a negative. And I just remember start on the start line, got off to a very good start, but we went through the first K and I think 240 or something like that. And like people say hill runners can't run fast, but I was neck and neck. There's Italy, Kenya, and America and Canada were trying to put the boot down early on, but it ended up I was at the front with 2 Italians, 2 Kenyans, and 2 Americans. The Canadian blew out, but for some reason, next thing, all I knew is about 2K in. I happened to look around, and the group was just disintegrated. It was just us.
Just fell apart.
I'm like, oh God, what do I do here? So I just stayed relaxed. Obviously, with the heat, you have to be mindful of how hard, like just keeping yourself cool, keeping the breathing right, because humidity as well. It was just, I'm a redhead. I'm not designed for that. Carry on, but we'll survive it anyway.
And were you doing that when you were running at 240?
Yeah, the first K was at 240 if I remember right. And then you went straight up. You're up in the jungle, up onto the climb. But we were coming up. We got to about, I'd say, the last K and a half. But we came up through the trees. Then we had this very sharp descent, very flat, very fast. So it wasn't technical. So I was fine that way. But at that stage, I was beside Joe Gray, who is a 2-time world mountain running champion. Now, I was beside him. And to put it into perspective, when I first ran in Bulgaria in 2016, and my first time running for Ireland, he won the world championships. He was world champion, and I finished 75th, 22 minutes behind him.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm running alongside him, and I don't normally look at the watch when I'm racing, but at this stage I looked to see how far I had to go. I think I had less than 2K, but we came out at the final aid station. I took a water, I poured it over me, didn't even drink it because the adrenaline was that much. I just had to throw it over myself. And the final climb was horrendous because at this stage, everything's just burning. The adrenaline's starting to kick in. But then I could see he was suffering. He was starting to hurt. So I took one last surge and away I went, got up. And you come into this small Thai village. Like, I mean, it's like something you would see on TV, like Richard Attenborough would be commentating on it. Like, but it was... You came in and next thing there's flags everywhere. All the school children are out. All the locals are out cheering, batting their palms and whatnot. Like, it's surreal feeling to be up there. And next thing I seen coming down the street, I could see we had to turn left onto the red carpet. And I seen Leo, and I could see just as I came over the hill, about 10 seconds ahead of me. Sorry, I could see bronze and I could see fourth. Like, I was only 15 or 20 seconds off a bronze medal. That's how close I was to the bronze medal. But I came over and I seen Leo and I could see him bouncing. He was doing backflips. And like I just clapped. I was like, what the hell have I just done here? And it took and to be honest with you, I was just laying on the floor, completely exhausted. But when it eventually came over and I looked up and I seen the screen just below the finish line, and it was like Biff, Zak Hanna, Ireland. I was like, what the hell? I am like speechless. Not too often I am speechless, but that was one of those times where I was. And like when you're beating a 2-time world champion and you're only seconds off a bronze medal, and like the Kenyans are only a minute ahead of you, it's just, you realise that it's not something that you get the experience too often, because like I know Ireland's only ever had one mountain running world champion and John Lennon. Robbie Bryson's finished fourth in 1994, but I don't think Ireland's ever had as high a result as that since then. So to be spoken in, like, people were comparing me to John Lennon and Robbie, but I'm nowhere near as good as what they were. But to be in the same breath as them's pretty special feeling for me. And one day I would love to be able to replicate that feeling by going and winning the World Championships.
when you get your breath back in those moments, and obviously you've alluded to the feeling that it is. A lot of people come onto this podcast, and we've had a lot of high performance athletes, and they cross the race, and then straight away they're like, I could have got to 10 seconds here, and I should have done this here. And it seems like you enjoyed the moment and you're enjoying the feeling. And as you've mentioned, you're enjoying the process of training. What did it mean for you from there after taking a moment to enjoy this feeling? What did it mean for you in terms of what's next, and how do I get to work to replicate, or is it just keep doing what you're doing?
Honestly, I don't think I spoke about what's next for about 3 or 4 weeks after that there, because at that point I crossed the line. I just finished fifth. And as I say, I was coming off the back of a brilliant season. I just finished third overall in the Mountain Running World Cup. And I had won a few big races in Europe. And I had basically, it was my breakthrough year. And like, I was there, Sarah McCormick, she was racing in the up and down race, and Paddy O'Leary, he was doing the 80K. So once everything, well, I wouldn't say it settled down. Once I got my breath back and I was able to go over it and get my drop bag and whatnot, and everyone's congratulating you. The local TV's doing interviews with you and whatnot. And you have all broadcasters and journalists are coming over to talk to you. It's kind of like you just have to enjoy it, because moments like that don't come around too often. And when you're sitting here and being able to say, I'm the 5th best uphill mountain runner in the world at this point. And at that stage, my world ranking was 5th. So my place in the world championships matched my world ranking. So I'm walking around able to say that. And, even now, whenever I look back at that, look at pictures and look at videos, I just think that was someday, because it just really made me realize, right, I've definitely made the right decision 10 years ago to go all in on this. And when I say go all in, I quit my job in 2021 and moved out to Italy to chase the dream, essentially. And I went out there, had a couple of brilliant results out there, but then obviously homesickness got the better of me. Came back home, and I just made the base here and just put the head down, got the work done, and there's no real secret to it. Just train, enjoy it, and whenever you get the chance to go and run on the World Championships, and when you get a result like that, you enjoy it. And the good thing was, me and a few friends who run on the British team, we all stayed out for 2 weeks extra as our holiday. So
yes,
we all got to share the off season together, which was great, because none of us had any intention of racing or anything. So everyone was like maybe doing an easy jog every day, 30, 40 minutes, doing a bit of cycling around, going exploring, and just enjoying it. Because I think everyone that had good races in Thailand. So we all just wanted to enjoy it and say, Thailand's not one of these countries you get to go to every year. So made the most of the local cuisine and just really, really had a good time. That's what it's all about at the end of the day.
Yeah, we have a video here of you partying. We're gonna. No, I'm only joking. I just wanted to see your face.
Well, they had it at the closing ceremony. They did have a DJ on, and I did steal her ear set and all the stuff. But it was great crap. But to be honest with you, the high I was on from that day lasted about a month.
And rightly so, and so it should, and that's what we're happy to see, because we think probably athletes they're too quick to move on to the next thing, and because your career can be quite short or it can be quite long. You just don't know. You're only as good as your last one. So to enjoy it in that way with people you've raced with and against, probably a fantastic way to end the perfect season. When you then look at obviously moving away, coming home, you're doing training camps and obviously training in Ireland in, let's call, some harsh conditions. You've managed to be 5th and ranked 5th in the world. It says a lot about what we can do here at home and the standard of Irish mountain runners that are coming out, because you're training and racing here and around the world. But there's a lot to be said for people who are, because iron sharpens iron, people who you were training with and that you've mentioned, pushing you and as a collective, Irish mountain running getting better.
Hydration is key to fueling endurance performance.
Perform Nutrition's Electrolytes Plus sachets have been specifically designed to fill the need for advanced hydration for athletes.
with 1,000 milligrams sodium, all essential electrolytes, and 2,500 milligram performance blend made up of glutamine, taurine, and coconut water powder. One sachet will replenish and revitalize your hydration.
Using natural flavors, natural colors, no added sugar, and no added fillers, each sachet has a sweet and lightly salted fruity flavor and comes in either mixed berry or citrus.
Informed, sport tested, and trusted by Olympians such as Kate O'Connor, world champion boxer Aoife O'Rourke, and pro triathlete Nikki Bartlett, and many more elite athletes.
Trust Perform to fuel your excellence, and by listening to this advert, you are supporting Irish businesses and this podcast. Now let's get back to the episode.
Yeah, well, you only have to look at the cross-country runners at Eurocross this year. You only have to look at the success they're having. Look at the track runners and all and whatnot, and look at even the standards of the marathon. Irish athletics as a whole is on the up, and it's brilliant to see. But I think you have to go. Ireland is a great place to train, but in terms of they've got the indoor track down in Abbottstown. Up here, we don't have that, unfortunately. But you just have to make do with what you have. I always think you go out to Kenya. They've got the altitude, they've got the dirt road, they have a track, obviously. The only thing Ireland is lacking is altitude and the weather, basically, because if you had the same weather that Kenya got and you had the altitude, this place would be unbelievable training.
I don't know if we get the altitude, but one of the things you are doing is you're tracking your numbers a lot in terms of your breathing and treadmill. I've seen a few videos where you have the Damascus stuff on. When you're doing your training, because you talk about 100-mile weeks and stuff and hitting the mountains, and you said there a second ago when you were talking about Thailand that you're not mountain runners aren't considered fast runners, but you have a 10k of 31:15, which to me and Eric is pretty damn fast. So how does the numbers? What are you looking at to translate to easy run, hard run, or is it just you're up in the mountains trying to accumulate miles? How does your training work?
Training is just a mix of you want to be fast in the flat, but then that builds up your aerobic strength, and then you want to translate that onto the hills. I say during the winter, I spend most of my time in the flat, purely because the weather here is that bad. It's just not enjoyable to go up into the mountains every weekend and get bothered by the wind and the rain. So it's just, I'm lucky enough that where I live is hilly, so I'm able to go out and run not long hills, but short, steep ones, which keeps me humble. I think as well, when I'm on that treadmill, that's getting a lab test. I usually get that done every year just to see how the body is and where my numbers are at, like VO2 max wise and stuff. But that there's just sets me up for what I have to do going forward. So it means my heart rate numbers are set. Paces, I don't really work off paces as such. Everything's all measured in how I feel, heart rate based as well. But then when you get into springtime, then that's when you're looking at the legs need to get ready for the mountains here. Then you transition over. Then you drop the mileage, because trying to run 100-mile weeks in the mountains is probably the equivalent of 130, 140 miles a week. So you have to reduce the volume, because when you go into the hills, obviously a 10k on the flats different to a 10k in the hills time wise. So you have to those adjustments. But there's no real science to it. There is a science to it, but it's keeping it simple, keeping it enjoyable, and making sure there's a good variety in your training, because the amount of people now that you see starting running and they just go straight from running 0 miles a week straight into running 50k, 100-mile ultras with zero base behind them, and they wonder why they're injured. You have to have your body strong enough to cope with what you're looking at to do. And it's a case of every winter, you take a break after the racing season, your body comes back, reset hopefully, and you just have to rebuild every season. That's what you have to do in the winters. That's exactly what I do in the winter, and then hopefully come the springtime, then you'll start to see the work come through, and then hopefully just be a bit fitter and stronger.
With the exception of the falls, you've put a serious amount of mileage and I say poundage in your body, because Eric said, the descents and stuff like that is a lot in the quads and the legs. How have you been with injuries over the last 10 years since you've taken it up?
I've had zero running injuries.
Everyone touch wood now, Sean. You had to ask that, didn't you?
Fucking shouldn't have asked it.
No, I've had nothing. I think, the last time I had to take considerable time off running was I think in 2016, I crashed my cousin's motorbike up the side of my house, and that 2 weeks off for a dead leg.
That'll do. Let's call that one, and then the course is gone. We'll take that. It's absolutely amazing. And then when you look now, and again, we're not talking about plans, but we're coming out of the off season into the spring. What does it look like for you when you move into this next phase, and what's on the horizon for you?
Well, my next race is actually the Raheny 5 miler. I'm gonna go and do it. I like to do a few road races over the winter and spring, just purely something different. I like road.
Yeah.
There's this whole stigma that mountain and trail runners don't like running on the road. I love running on the road. I love going out and doing a 10K, 5K, getting my arse handed to me, just because I know it's good for me. And going to Raheny, and then after that, it'll be getting ready I'll do all the uphill races in the Mountain Running World Cup this year. So the first race of that is outside Beijing in China. So I'm going out there at the end of April to race.
Whoa.
And then hopefully get out to California and whatnot over the summer. So as I say, it's exciting. I'm looking I love this time of year, planning all my racing and all, because then it gives you something to look forward to whenever it comes like April time. Hopefully get out the Irish European Trials on the 22nd of March. So I'll go down to it. Hopefully get on the team for it. The Europeans are in Slovenia in June. So hopefully get on the team for it. And then after that, continue on the World Cup circuit, do a few other races, and then spend I've actually a camp at the beginning of May with New Balance in Chamonix. So I'm going out there for a week, and then hopefully spend a bit more time in Chamonix in between races during the summer.
And getting to see the world, obviously the World Cup, does it hit a variety of countries, continents? Where would you see yourself going now over this World Cup, or do you know what races you've assigned your name to at this moment?
Yeah, well, I'll be going to China, America, France, Italy, the World Cup finals are in Canada in October, so all being well, I'll be going there too.
Is it exciting? I suppose I travel a lot. Sometimes the travel can get boring. Are you still finding it exciting to arrive in Beijing and go, I'm about to do a World Cup race. This is cool. Are you still feeling that excitement, that enjoyment? And are you still, obviously you've said you still get nervous before a race, and now you have a reputation, I suppose, behind you. So people are now looking at, oh shit, Zach arrived. Is there an element of that little bit of pressure going on yourself? Do you feel that bit of pressure on yourself, or is it, I'm just here to enjoy it, I'm going to give my best effort, and let's see where we end up?
Look, you know what? See this, the athlete lifestyle. I love it. See this traveling and going all over the world to race. It's just since I was very young. Like even when I was show jumping, I wanted to be a professional show jumper. Then I wanted to be a professional cyclist. But now that I'm a professional runner, it's like everything you're living the dream essentially. And being able to do this, like I don't take it for granted ever, because as you said earlier on the podcast, an athlete's career is very, very short, and it's just you hear about athletes retiring, and I hate reading, like whenever you hear articles about someone's been interviewed because they've retired, I hate reading articles about that, because like some stage that's going to come to me, and it's kind of like I don't want it to end, because it's given me so much, and as well, not very many people get to be a professional athlete, so I count myself very lucky in that sense. But it's a case of take every opportunity I have, that I'm given, and like attack it. Just go after it, because you never know when it ends. It could be a very abrupt ending, or it could be just a slow wind down, but you sort of have to be ready for it. And like I've never been to China in my life, so going out here is just like I cannot wait to get out there and see what it's like. And it's surreal that I get to do it. But yeah, one that I'm very grateful for, and it's a privilege to be able to do.
What an unbelievable way to travel the world. That's absolutely brilliant. But definitely hard earned from the stuff you've done, the training you've done. It's been
small matter of a mountain in there, Sean. You can keep it.
Yeah, go up as fast as you can. Yeah, well, you beat me running the flats. So you definitely earned it all. But absolutely brilliant. Listen to your stories over the past 45, 50 minutes in the podcast, Zach. It's absolutely brilliant.
Well, that's it. You talk about the stories. Like I remember, I can't remember where I heard it, but it sort of stuck with me for a long time. It's like, you want to be able to go in 10, 20 years time and look back and say, Jesus, I had a good time. You know, that's what you want. And that's I have every intention of doing that, because last couple of years has been rough, and it's just for me personally. So it's a case of I just want to get the most out of myself and probably squeeze the absolute most out of myself in terms of my running ability, and just leave nothing on the table. Just get out there and run as hard as I can. And if at the end of that I get good results, that's it.
And
That's
when
what I
you
love
look
about your
back at
posts.
key moments in your life, you'll think, remember I did that Any Given Run Day podcast? What a time to be alive.
That's it. You remember this too.
Yeah, we will. We'll be going with you
I
to
love it.
Beijing next year.
That's it.
I'll carry your bag, Zach. Don't worry about it. But it has been absolutely amazing having you on, and we and the rest of the thousands of listeners who are going to find out more about trail running and about the great work you were doing, and hopefully will take great interest in your running career. And let's hope there's another 10, 15 years in it. Keep pushing it, Zach. Keep doing the best you can. Thank you so much for taking the time to come and chat to us. It's been absolutely amazing. We can't wait to see what the year brings for you. You have everybody's support, and just keep showing up and keep doing what you do best. It's brilliant to see, and we wish you all the best over the coming season.
No, thanks for having me. It's been good crack having the chat now. So it's been good.
No, that's it for this week's episode of the Any Given Run Day podcast. Myself, Zach, and Eric. Take care.